Following Jesus isn't always easy, but it's not complicated. This is Simple Faith in 5. Each weekday, we take the teachings of Jesus combined with a spiritual discipline and grow our faith in 5-minute moments. Click subscribe to make sure that you don't miss a one. You know, most of us want proof before we believe. We want evidence. We want reassurance, something solid to hold on to. And that's not a lack of faith. It's really just human. We would like to know that there's water in the pool before we jump off the diving board. We'd like to know that she's going to say yes before we ask her out. We'd like to know that this job is actually going to be all that I'd hoped it would be before I actually say yes. And Jesus didn't shame his disciples for needing proof. He invited them to touch his hands, to see his scars, to watch him eat. Mark Moore reminds us that the resurrection wasn't a private experience. It was witnessed by many over time in different places. Christian faith isn't wishful thinking, it's rooted in history. Now, I want you to think about that for a second. For all of your fears about what Jesus might say to you, how disappointed he is in you, how frustrated he is by your lack of belief, and maybe even your questions about proof, this is the same Jesus that shows up in a room, and that should be enough, invites people to put their finger in the nail hole in his wrist and to see where the spear punctured his side. He gives them proof. Jesus is patient like that. He's willing to give that kind of evidence. So our spiritual discipline this week is witness. And today I want to ask you to reflect on why you believe. What evidence or personal or historical evidence has anchored your faith? Maybe it was experiential. Maybe it was a clear moment you experienced Jesus. Maybe it's just information that changed your perspective on him. And then you had an emotional encounter of some sort. And maybe it was just a reaction or an encounter of reason. And I want you to think about what that is. And I want you to thank God for meeting you where you are. And as you witness, be interested in where people are. Maybe they just need to talk. Maybe they got questions they don't even need answers for. They just need to say them and meet them where they are. Well, thanks for joining us today. Pass this along to a friend, and we will see you next time. And as always, keep it simple.